My son won't share any assets with you, Victoria announced smugly over her morning tea, each word dripping with satisfaction. You're just a temporary decoration until he finds someone more suitable. I kept arranging the flowers in the crystal vase, my hands steady despite the venom in her voice. My name is Olivia, and at 32, I was listening to my mother-in-law gleefully inform me that my 5-year marriage was nothing more than an extended audition for a role I'd never get to play. Marcus and I have discussed everything, she continued, clearly disappointed by my lack of reaction. The house, the investments, even this vacation property, it's all protected. You'll leave with exactly what you brought. Nothing. I placed the last rose in the vase, adjusting it until it was perfect. The irony of this conversation taking place in her beloved lakeside mansion wasn't lost on me. If only she knew what I discovered in her husband's old study 3 months ago. That's interesting, I said quietly, meeting her gaze. Does Marcus know about the debt on this property? Victoria's teacup clattered against its saucer. What are you talking about? The second mortgage you took out last year, the one that's 3 months overdue. Her face paled slightly before she recovered. You're delusional. This house has been paid off for years. I smiled, remembering the stack of unopened bills I'd found while cleaning her husband's study after his passing. Victoria had always been careless with money, hiding her shopping sprees and gambling debts from her family. Her husband had covered for her for years, but his death had left her vulnerable and desperate. The bank called yesterday, I said, keeping my voice neutral. They're planning to foreclose next month. That's impossible. Victoria stood up, her composure cracking. I would know if you'd been opening your mail or checking your accounts. I picked up my purse. You might want to start. I hear there's a buyer interested in acquiring foreclosed properties in this area. I left her standing there, her face a mix of fury and fear. What she didn't know was that I'd spent the last 3 months preparing for this moment. My anonymous holding company, funded by my own successful interior design business, the one she always mocked as a cute hobby, was positioned to buy the property the moment it went into foreclosure. Victoria had never bothered to learn anything about me beyond the fact that I'd grown up in a middle-class family. She didn't know about my business degree, my thriving company, or the fact that I'd been quietly building my own empire while she dismissed me as a gold digger. The real shock came later that evening when Marcus came home. I was in our kitchen preparing dinner when he dropped the bomb. Olivia, we need to talk, he said, his tone serious. Mother told me you've been snooping through private family documents. I turned from the stove, studying my husband's face. The man I'd loved for 5 years looked like a stranger, his features hardened by his mother's influence. Is that what she told you? I asked, wiping my hands on a towel. Did she mention the foreclosure notice? Marcus waved dismissively. Mother says you're making things up, creating drama because you're insecure about your position in this family. My position? I couldn't help but laugh. You mean the position where I'm just a temporary decoration? His face flushed. She told you about our conversation. She did. I kept my voice steady. She also mentioned that you've been planning to protect all the assets from me. Were you ever going to tell me yourself? It's not like that, he stammered. Mother just thinks. No, I cut him off. The question is, what do you think, Marcus? Are you capable of thinking anything your mother hasn't approved first? He stared at me, mouth open but no words coming out. In that moment, I saw him clearly, not the successful businessman I married, but the little boy still desperately seeking his mother's approval. The bank called again, I said, pulling out my phone. They're moving up the foreclosure date on the vacation house. Victoria needs to come up with $2.5 million by the end of the month. Marcus's face went pale. That's impossible. The house is paid off. Mother would never. I showed him the foreclosure notice. Your mother's been hiding things from you too, Marcus. The difference is, I did my research. He sank into a kitchen chair, running his hands through his hair. This can't be happening. That house, it's been in our family for generations. Not for much longer, I said, turning back to the stove. Unless someone buys it at auction. I hear there's already an interested party. We have to help her, Marcus declared, standing up. We can use our savings, take out a loan. I turned off the burner and faced him. Our savings? The ones you've been hiding from me? Or do you mean my money, which you and your mother think I don't deserve to keep? The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus looked lost, caught between his mother's manipulation and the reality crashing down around him. I need to go talk to her, he finally said, heading for the door. Before you go, I called after him. You might want to ask her about the gambling debts too. And the credit cards in your father's name that she's still using. He stopped, hand on the doorknob. How do you know all this? Because unlike you and Victoria, I don't underestimate people just because they don't come from money. I met his gaze steadily. Your father knew about everything. He left me a letter before he died, along with all the documentation. He knew someone would need to protect this family from your mother's secrets eventually. Marcus left without another word, but I knew this was just the beginning. Victoria's carefully constructed world was about to crumble, and she had no idea that the person she dismissed as nothing was about to become her worst nightmare. I picked up my phone and dialed my lawyer's number. It was time to set the next phase of my plan in motion. Victoria wanted to play games with family assets. She was about to learn that she wasn't the only one who knew how to play. The next morning, Victoria's perfectly manicured facade began to crack. I watched from my office window as she stormed up our driveway, waving papers frantically. Marcus had spent the night at her house, presumably dealing with the aftermath of my revelations. You, she shrieked the moment I opened the door. What have you done? I stepped aside, letting her enter. Would you like some tea, Victoria? You seem upset. Don't play innocent with me, she spat, throwing a stack of bank notices onto my coffee table. The bank says there's an anonymous buyer. It's you, isn't it? You're trying to steal our family property. I sat down calmly, crossing my legs. I thought you said the house was paid off. Isn't that what you told Marcus? Her face contorted with rage. You had no right to go through Gerald's papers. Those were private family matters. Your late husband gave me those papers, I corrected her, along with a very detailed letter about your gambling habits and shopping addictions. He was worried about what would happen to the family after he was gone. Victoria sank into the armchair, her bravado deflating slightly. Gerald would never. But he did, I interrupted, pulling out an envelope from my desk. He knew you'd never accept me, that you tried to turn Marcus against me. He also knew about the money you've been borrowing against the vacation house. I handed her the letter. Her hands trembled as she read her late husband's words, his elegant handwriting detailing years of financial cover-ups and manipulation. Why didn't he ever say anything? She whispered, more to herself than to me. Because he loved you, I said simply. He spent years protecting you from yourself, but he knew it couldn't last forever. Victoria's eyes narrowed. So what now? You'll use this to blackmail us? Force Marcus to sign over assets to you? I couldn't help but laugh. Victoria, I don't want your money. I have my own. What I want is for you to understand something. I'm not the gold digger you think I am. I'm not here to steal your family's wealth. I'm here because I love your son, even if he can't stand up to you. Just then, Marcus walked in. He looked exhausted, his usually immaculate appearance disheveled. He stopped short when he saw us. Mother, what are you doing here? Your wife, Victoria began, but I cut her off. I was just explaining to Victoria about the buyer interested in the vacation house, I said smoothly. Meridian Holdings has made a very generous offer, considering the circumstances. Marcus frowned. Meridian Holdings? I've never heard of them. They're new, I explained, but they're willing to clear the debt and allow the current occupant to remain as a tenant, if certain conditions are met. Victoria's head snapped up. What conditions? I stood walking to the window. Full disclosure of all financial dealings to Marcus. No more hidden debts, no more secret gambling. And I turned to face them both. A public apology for the ways you've treated me over the years. This is blackmail, Victoria hissed. No, I corrected her. This is a chance for redemption. Gerald wanted this family to heal, not tear itself apart over money and pride. Marcus stepped forward, looking between his mother and me. The company, Meridian Holdings. It's yours, isn't it? I met his gaze steadily. Yes, I set it up 3 months ago after finding Gerald's letter. I knew Victoria would never accept help directly from me. You deceitful little, Victoria began, but Marcus raised his hand. Stop, Mother. Just stop. He looked tired, defeated. All these years you've been lying to me. About the money, about Father's wishes. And Olivia? He turned to me. You've been protecting us, haven't you? even while we treated you like an outsider." I felt tears prick at my eyes but held them back. "I love you, Marcus. Despite everything, I love this family. But things need to change." Victoria stood abruptly. "I need time to think." "You have until the end of the week," I said firmly. "After that, the house goes to auction, and I can't guarantee the next buyer will be as understanding." She left without another word, her shoulders slumped in a way I'd never seen before. Marcus stayed, standing awkwardly in the middle of our living room. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked finally. "Would you have believed me over your mother?" He flinched at my words but didn't argue. We both knew the truth. "I found Dad's letter in my office this morning," he said quietly. He explained everything. About Mother's gambling, the loans, how he'd been covering for her for years. He looked at me with new eyes. "He also wrote about you, how you were the daughter he never had, how he trusted you to do what was right for this family." I felt my composure crack slightly. Gerald had been the only one who'd ever truly accepted me, who'd seen past my background to who I really was. "I'm so sorry, Olivia," Marcus continued, stepping closer. "I've been blind, weak. I let Mother control everything, including how I treated the person I love most in this world." I wanted to fall into his arms, to let his words heal the years of hurt, but we weren't there yet. There was still more to be done. "If we're going to fix this," I said carefully, "things have to change. No more letting your mother run our lives. No more secrets about money or property. We either become true partners, or we end it," he finished. "I understand. And I choose you, Olivia. I should have chosen you all along." He reached for my hand, and this time, I let him take it. It wasn't a perfect resolution. There were still conversations to be had, trust to rebuild. But it was a start. As we stood there, I thought about the vacation house by the lake, about Gerald's letter, and about the long road ahead. Victoria might never fully accept me, but she would learn to respect me. And maybe, just maybe, this family could heal after all. A week later, I sat in my lawyer's office, watching Victoria read through the Meridian Holdings contract. Her hands still trembled slightly, but her face had lost the venomous anger I'd grown so accustomed to seeing. "This is surprisingly generous," she admitted reluctantly, looking up from the papers. "You'll clear all the debts, and I can stay in the house as a tenant." "With conditions," I reminded her. "Complete financial transparency, no more gambling, no hidden credit cards, and family counseling, all of us." Marcus, sitting beside me, squeezed my hand. He'd spent the past week discovering the full extent of his mother's financial deceptions. The vacation house was just the tip of the iceberg. The alternative, my lawyer added professionally, is immediate foreclosure and public auction. Given the circumstances, Mrs. Harrison, this offer is exceptionally fair. Victoria's perfectly manicured fingers traced the edges of the contract. "And this stays private? No one outside the family needs to know." "As long as you comply with all conditions," I confirmed. "This isn't about humiliating you, Victoria. It's about healing this family." She picked up the pen, then hesitated. "Gerald really left you that letter, telling you everything?" I pulled out the worn envelope I carried for months, sliding it across the table. "Read it yourself." Her eyes filled with tears as she recognized her late husband's handwriting. "My dear Olivia, I know my wife will never willingly accept you, but I've watched you build your business from nothing, seen your strength and integrity. You're the daughter I always wanted, and I trust you to protect this family while I'm gone, even from themselves. The documentation in my study will explain everything. Use it wisely, with compassion but firmness. Victoria needs boundaries she won't set for herself, and Marcus needs to learn to stand on his own. I'm trusting you with my greatest treasures, my family's future and their chance at redemption. With love and faith, Gerald." Victoria wiped her eyes, carefully refolding the letter. Without another word, she signed the contract. The next few months brought changes none of us could have predicted. Victoria, stripped of her financial secrets and forced to confront our addictions, slowly began to change. The family counseling sessions, though initially tense, gave us all a space to speak honestly about years of hurt and manipulation. "I was jealous," Victoria admitted during one session, surprising us all. "You came from nothing, but you built something real. I've just been pretending all my life, hiding behind family money and Gerald's protection." Marcus found his voice too, standing up to his mother for the first time in his life. "I can't be the son you wanted," he told her. But I can be a better husband, a better man, like Father wanted me to be. As for me, I kept my word. Meridian Holdings maintained Victoria's dignity in public while privately ensuring she stuck to her promises. The vacation house, rather than becoming a symbol of division, slowly transformed into a place of healing. 6 months after the contract signing, we all gathered there for a family dinner. I watched Victoria in the kitchen, actually cooking instead of ordering staff to do it. Marcus set the table, laughing at something his mother said, a sound I hadn't heard in years. "You've done the impossible," our family therapist had told me the day before. "You've given them a chance to become the family they could have been all along." After dinner, Victoria pulled me aside onto the lakeside porch. The sunset painted the water in shades of gold and pink, reminding me of all the reasons Gerald had loved this place. "I'll never be the mother-in-law you deserved," she said quietly, "but I'm trying to be better. Gerald was right about you. You protected this family even when we didn't deserve it." I touched the locket at my neck, Gerald's last Christmas gift to me. "We're all learning, Victoria. That's what family does." Inside, I heard Marcus loading the dishwasher, another small but significant change. He'd grown too, stepping out of his mother's shadow to become a true partner in our marriage. Later that night, as Marcus and I walked along the lake, he asked, "Do you regret any of it? Taking on Mother's mess, fighting for this family?" I thought about Gerald's letter, about Victoria's slow transformation, about our own strengthened marriage. "No," I said honestly. "Your father saw something in this family worth saving. He was right." Marcus stopped, pulling me into his arms. "He was right about you too. You're the strongest person I know, Olivia. Thank you for not giving up on us." As we stood there, watching the stars reflect on the lake's surface, I thought about how sometimes the greatest victories come not from destroying our enemies, but from transforming them into family. The vacation house stood behind us, lights glowing warmly in the darkness. It was no longer just Victoria's sanctuary or a symbol of family wealth. It had become something more valuable, a testament to the power of tough love, honest confrontation, and the kind of strength that chooses reconciliation over revenge. Gerald would have been proud.